Hot summer sun means cold summer drinks. Why not try something from Japan or Korea? They're cheap, delicious, easy to make, and I'm going to show you how I made them right now. Now these drinks form the basis of a lot of healthy ways to keep hydrated. They're delicious too, for the most part, and I say for the most part because I'm not sure. I've had all of them and I like all of them with the exception of this one right here, the Oksusucha. I've never tried it before and I'm just full of curiosity. I've done my reading on that one and it seems that it gets like hate all over the place, even in Korea. So we're gonna find out together how good it tastes. Or not. Okay, first off we're gonna start with our wheat teas or barley teas, whatever you want to call them. One is from Japan and one is from Korea. Now it's funny because I've had them both and they both taste distinctively different from one another. They're both lovely, they're both delicious, but I wouldn't take them to be the same product. But from what I've read online, people are calling them the same thing, which is kind of weird as far as I'm concerned. But hey, if you are unfamiliar with it, it's time for me to introduce it to you. So there you go. That's Japanese Mugicha. Mugi meaning wheat. Again, I don't get sponsored by anybody. What you see in my videos is my true opinion. If I like it, I'll say I like it. And that's for real. Okay, so this particular brand is my favorite brand. That being said, I don't think it's super, you know, crazy better than every other brand. They're all really good. This one in particular is called Kumamoto Mugicha. That's their mascot, very easy to recognize. But it, like I said, it doesn't have to be this brand. Get any brand you want from Japan. They're gonna more or less taste the same. Now, I've heard that there are various health benefits to drinking this. Stabilizing your blood sugar, fights inflammation, that kind of thing. The more important thing about Mugicha is, I guess, its cultural significance. In Japan, I'm gonna say 90% and above of the Japanese population drinks this instead of water during the summer. If you want one of the most Japanese drinks possible, Mugicha. Every office that you go to, every school that you're in, the thing that is served, every home, the thing that is most readily available is Mugicha as a summer drink. In fact, if you were born and or raised in Japan, there's no way you get to adulthood without associating the taste of this with summer. Okay, now this one is Korean Boricha, barley tea, and it says here, Bori, Kuksan, 100%. So they're very proud of the fact that all the barley in here came from Korea. Like I said, I've had it. Similar, not the same. When you turn this around and you look at the backside, you can see it's 100% in Korean. Now, I can read Korean script. My Korean isn't, you know, super flawless and hot, so I do have to do some guessing. I will be very honest with you. I get that you can make cold brew with it, which is what we're doing today. From what I gather, you can make 2 liters per bag, but if I get that wrong, if there's some Korean person out there, take a good look. If you please, Korean people, 잘 부탁드리겠습니다. I ask you the favor. If I get it wrong, leave a comment and tell me what I did wrong. And you have my apologies if I got it wrong. So cold brew. Cold brew is probably the easiest way of making tea ever. There's nothing to it. It's a lazy man's way of making tea, and the results are fantastic. You won't believe this, but yes, all you do is take a tea bag, put it in there, cover it in cold water. Same for the Japanese one too. Take a tea bag. Oh, these ones are attached together. Take a tea bag and cover it in cold water. Before we do that though, let's compare the two. Korean, Japanese. The paper's even the same. The way of sealing it is very similar. The size is different, slightly. This one's thicker though. This one's thinner, so maybe it's about the same. The smell is quite distinctly different. This one is smokier. And this one's grainier. Okay, again, Korean, Japanese. Let's cover them in cold water. Okay, I've gone and filled these two with water. Korean, Japanese, and it's interesting to look at the slight differences. The Japanese one seems to be filled with more fine powder, and you can see it's producing tea really rapidly, even though this is just cold water, which is great. And this one, the Korean one, is also producing tea, which is beautiful. The grains seem to be bigger though. Okay, and even though the instructions on the packages say to leave it in the fridge for an hour or maybe 2 hours, and you know, I'm lazy, I can't be bothered. So I'm just gonna throw a piece of plastic wrap on both of these, stick them in the fridge, leave them overnight, and I know for a fact that one's gonna be gorgeous. That one is still a mystery. Let's find out if it's any good. Okay, it's been about a day since I put these into the water, and this is really interesting actually, to see them side by side like this. Because when you look on the internet and you look up Mugicha or Boricha, a lot of the websites will say, oh, it's the same thing. Mugicha is Boricha. Or if you look up Boricha, it'll say, yeah, known in Japan as Mugicha. But to my palate, they've always tasted different. And now that I've made them side by side, same water, same container, same everything, same amount of time, the results are markedly different. If you look at this, and you look at this, okay, the Japanese one, it has turned out a lot browner at the bottom, and you see that the particles are heavy, so they've all sunk. The top of the water is all still clear. I haven't mixed this up or anything, and I haven't mixed up the other one either. I'll put this over here. If you look at the Korean one, it's a much lighter looking color, and the color is evenly distributed through the whole thing, which just says to me that the particles are a lot finer. All right, so let's find out what the two of them taste like side by side. Okay? Bam! All right, let's take a test. Now, I already know what that one tastes like because basically I grew up drinking it. So I'm gonna drink this one first. This one's got my curiosity. All right, cheers everybody. That is delicious. Yeah, it tastes unexpectedly sweet. Yeah, it definitely has a natural sweetness to it. Like not Pepsi Cola sweet, nothing like that, but for an unsugared plain grain drink, yeah, it's got a natural weird, you know how like tomatoes are sweet, even though they're not like fruity, even though they're fruit, I forget I said that, but it's kind of like that. There's no bitterness. Yeah, I wouldn't mistake that for Japanese Mugicha. It's got its own flavor going on. It's very light and very refreshing. I would definitely buy that again. Very good for a hot summer day. Very, very nice summer drink. I can see why this is popular in Korea. Okay, now the old standard. Cheers. Okay, that's a taste of Japan in the summertime, all right. Refreshing and delicious. Yeah, having them side by side like this is really interesting. I mean, if I had to decide either way, don't misunderstand me. They taste like what they are, like a barley tea and a wheat tea. But for those of you, you know, watching on the other side of the screen, if I had to picture it, this one has kind of a slight Cheerios kind of flavor to it, and this one is more like I don't know, like unfermented beer. It doesn't taste like unfermented beer. It's just got ever so slightly that kind of a hint of a flavor to it. So there you go. Don't believe people when they say they're the same thing, because here we are side by side. They're not the same thing. They're both wonderful and they're both distinct. Okay folks, the video was getting kind of long, so I decided to cut it right here. But that's only the end of part 1. Don't forget to tune into part 2 and see how I made and taste tested the rest of these drinks. See you soon.